Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why I struggle with that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our kind of regular scheduled Wealth Warriors presentation for members. And tonight I'm going to introduce, if you haven't seen this concept before, or even if you have and you may not quite get it yet, I'm going to try to just repeat exactly what we've been doing, what we're trying to achieve, because repetition is the mother of skill. And the more you hear this, the more it's going to sink in. I was talking to some people that have been with me from the beginning on this idea. I was talking to them a couple of days ago, and they still don't get it. They've heard this presentation or this philosophy, this methodology, whatever you want to call it. They've had it explained to them about 10 times, and they still don't get it. So just look out for something new. Don't think about this as something you've seen dozens of times before. If you've been in lots of different platforms before, lots of different groups before, this is probably completely different from everything you've seen before. And that's deliberate, because what we've seen before has really left us high and dry many, many times, over and over and over. The rug gets pulled, the business gets investigated by the SEC or the FCA. The CEO decides it's no more fun, so he runs off with the money, or the whole thing was set up as a scam right from the very beginning. Okay, and there's mathematical formulae that determine when a scam is going to pull the plug and run away. And there's a number of bits of information you can plot out on a chart, and when the lines cross, any time after that is a good time for the plug to be pulled, and they run away with millions of dollars of our money. Okay, so we've been involved in things like that before, and it didn't work. Okay, so we want to do something that is going to work, that's going to allow us to build a long-term income, a long-term security. That's what we've tried to do with Wealth Warriors. Is it a finished product? I really don't know. We've changed it and adapted it several times already, and it's only been around for a few weeks. So we've changed it. We've identified different things, new ways of doing things that are important to us that need to be included. Okay, and we can't say hand on heart that we won't change it a little bit more in the future. But whatever changes we do make will always be geared towards us all collectively having a secure income and a growing, as in larger and larger income going forward, having security of income. Okay, and we'll go through that in a little bit as I go through some of the presentation. So what I'm saying in short, even if you've seen this several times before, keep an open mind, pay attention, try to find something in here that you haven't seen before. Disregard everything you've learned about building businesses in this space, because we're trying to do it completely differently. So if you can just sort of rid yourself of all the preconceived ideas and the preconceived or the pre-acquired knowledge and information you have about this space, this online business space, and try to understand what it is we're trying to do here. Like I say, it is different from anything you've seen before. I know a few people have tried something similar, but I maintain that they didn't really have the full commitment to what I'm going to tell you. They faked themselves out to a certain extent, because they didn't believe their own PR. They didn't follow through on their own thoughts and ideas about the strategy, about the future, about the way forward. And so they kind of got so far down the road with their revolutionary thinking and sort of capitulated, because they were in uncertain territory. And the reason I'm pretty confident that what we're doing is on the right track is because I'm working with a team of leaders, a great bunch of people who have thoughts and ideas, and they're different from mine, which I really don't like. But there we go. We have that because you've got to be able to test your own ideas. There's a passage in the Bible that says, "As steel sharpens steel, so the wit of one man sharpens another." And I say one man, we have women in the leaders team as well. And so, this isn't just my brainchild. I started out with an idea of what I wanted and how to achieve it, but it's been honed and tuned and fine-tuned by sharing it with leaders, and they bring in their own thoughts and ideas and challenge my thoughts and ideas, and we've come up with something that I think is either perfect or getting very, very close. So like I say, is it going to change in the future? It may well be fine-tuned again in the future, but we think we're pretty much on the right track for what we're trying to do. Something else you may see with a lot of other platforms, but not all of them by any means, is honesty and openness. Okay, we're not trying to hide anything. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything. The only thing I like to convince people of is that if you jump into this as part of the community, be a part of the community, find out what that means, and just do that. Okay, but we'll go through that in the presentation. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we'll go through a standard presentation. I'm going to say welcome to Wealth Warriors. I'm going to move a couple of things. Sorry, I know you can't see it as I move it, but it was in my way. So welcome to Wealth Warriors. And I like this tagline, financial freedom fighters, because we are, I see us as freedom fighters. The idea of freedom fighters, we hear about, the oppressive regime of a tyrannical government or dictatorial government or fascist government even, like we've got in America at the moment, or Canada at the moment, trying to stop people from living their lives in pursuit of, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is kind of everybody's birthright. I know we're not all Americans, but all of those ideas come from the Magna Carta back in 1215. And so, we've all got a long history of what we're entitled to as people. But unfortunately, most of those freedoms and most of those rights have been eroded by subsequent governments and different acts of parliament and different sign-ups with corporations. You've only got to look at when you get a new phone, the size of the contract that you have to tick a box to say you agree with it all right there, and then you've signed away pretty much all of your rights anyway. So this idea of freedom fighters is that you've got this oppressive government or this oppressive regime, and you have a small pocket of people who can see through all that, and they think it's worth their time, effort, and money to fight back, to try to liberate themselves and the rest of their fellow citizens from that tyrannical regime. And so that's how I see us. Most people don't realize that the noose is closing around the necks of citizens in countries all over the world. And one of the things that people are having control over, also that are losing control over, is their money. Banks, governments have for a long time been in control of people's fiat currency. Because since it's stopped being backed by gold, the government can print as much money as they want, thereby devaluing what's in your pocket and in your savings account and in your pension. Okay, so we've lost control of our fiat currency. The government can do with it what they want. They believe that the money is theirs and that we're just borrowing, we're just using it temporarily. And that's not the case. However, it's hard to argue with that when the government has so much legislation that it keeps control of your money and treats it as if it's their money. In fact, in some countries, the legislation actually states that you don't have any money yourself. It belongs to the government, and that you're using it under sufferance from them. If they want to seize all your assets, they jolly well will. Okay, and so coming into then cryptocurrency, which should be the great equalizer, it should be the great reset of finances, because it's peer-to-peer. Everybody is equal in a blockchain transaction. It's nothing to do with the government. It's nothing to do with the church, or it's nothing to do with anybody else. Just the person who's buying something and the person who's selling something. Even the blockchain is completely independent, because you need confirmations from many different miners, and they're all out there competing with each other. So nobody's going to cheat. Nobody's going to get it wrong. It really is a decentralized system, which means that nobody's in charge. Nobody's in charge of what you do with your money. And that's the way it should be. It's your money. You've earned it. And so this financial freedom fighters, I see that's where we are. We are freedom fighters. We're going up against the oppressive regime to make sure that you and I can have a financial future, whether it's in cryptocurrency or fiat currency or stocks and bonds or shares or bearer bonds or whatever systems we introduce, whatever platforms we introduce. We want the money that we earn from that, we want it to be ours to do with as we want, not controlled by somebody else. And so in that respect, we really are freedom fighters. So I've laboured that quite enough. I just love that thought. And the more I think about it, the more I love it. So welcome to Wealth Warriors. Let's have a look at why we're doing this. What do we want? Well, first and foremost, we want money. Money's not the most important thing in the world. A billionaire friend of mine used to say, I don't much like money. I just rate it right up there with oxygen. Okay, he might not like oxygen, but he needs it. And we want we want money from two different sources, if you like, two different ways, if we can get it. And we can't always get it, but if we can, we want passive income from the product or from the system, from the thing that we're promoting. Okay, we want a passive income. And the second thing we want is commissions from building a team. And not everybody wants to build a team, but I'm going to show you later there is benefit to just over the long term putting a few people together in a team, because you can benefit from that effort on into the future over and over and over again. The reason most people don't like building a team is because they've put some effort into building a team, and then that platform went pop, and not only did they lose all of the effort they put into building that team, they upset a few of their friends who lost some money along the way. So we're going to try and do it differently from that. We're not going to lose our friends and family. We're not going to lose our money. Or if we do, it'll be in a controlled situation so that we don't reset everything back to zero. And I'll come on to that in a few minutes. So that's what we want, is money. What do we get? Well, we end up paying out again and again on a product that just doesn't deliver. And we end up with a compensation plan designed to minimize your rewards, i.e. a binary structure or forced matrix. People don't understand why I don't like these binary structures. But what you'll find is that with something like a binary structure, the company imposes limitations. They're saying, in effect, they're saying, well, you've earned 100% of these commissions, but we're only going to pay you 50% of whatever's on your weakest leg, which may be only 10% of the commissions you've contributed to the company. I don't understand why they do that. I think if you're responsible for making the company this much money, you should get your fair share of it, not be limited by a forced matrix or some binary rules. I just don't get it, and I don't want to do that personally. I don't think it's the way ahead as a community. Some people argue with me, but I tell them just to remember all the times they've been wrong before. We end up as well with restrictions on withdrawal times or amounts, so, oh yes, you can only withdraw $100 a month or something, or you can only withdraw money at the weekend, or you put in a request before Wednesday evening and you get your money by the following Monday. No, if you've earned the money, you should be able to get your money. It's your money. I'm a firm believer in this. If possible, we will always deal with platforms and systems where it's your money, you can get your money anytime you like. It's not always possible, but that's high on our list of priorities. What else do we want? We want security of income. We don't want to spend our time, money and effort building an income only to find out that next week it's gone. The regulations have changed, the company's changed, the owners changed, the plans changed, whatever. We want the security of the income. But what do we get? Well, we get companies that disappear with everyone's money, losing the asset you've created by building up your passive business. A lot of these passive businesses, you start small and you faithfully do a task every day or every week. And over a period of weeks, months, maybe even years, you can build up a nice income, but only if the platform stays around that long. Okay, so if as your passive business is growing your money and then they disappear, that's no good. So we're trying to mitigate against that. We can't do that perfectly, but we have some tricks up our sleeve that allow us to mitigate against that to a certain extent. We get companies that destroy your relationships with friends and families that you introduce. And how many times have you talked to somebody and they say, oh, I don't want to build a business, I've burned through all my friends and all my family, and most of my friends and family aren't even talking to me anymore. Okay, there's no need to do that with the system we've put together. You can introduce people in confidence that if they buy into the system that we're talking about, they won't be losing their friends and family just because one particular business or one particular platform has failed. We end up with despair, despondency, disillusionment, dejection. It's just hard to keep picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and do it all over again. There are some people in the world, some people call them professional networking people, or just I don't know, along those lines. It's like, they're the tough ones. They just get on with it, and when things go wrong, they just remain upbeat and do it all over again. But even for those people, there's a limit to how many times they can do that, because every single time it's another nail in in the coffin of your confidence and your abilities to do this. So we end up with despair and despondency. And we're trying to build something where that isn't the case. So what else do we want? We want financial freedom. Well, what is financial freedom? You see, right now, I'm about an hour from London, and later this evening there's a plane leaving from Heathrow Airport that could take me to go and live in, I don't know, Fiji for a month, live in a luxury hotel, or maybe stop over at Hong Kong and stay there for a month, living in a luxury hotel, just living the life of Riley. And so I could, if I want to, I have political freedom. I have a passport. Okay, I could go and jump on that plane and go and live a life of luxury for a month or 2 months or 10 months okay. So why don't I? Well, I don't have the financial freedom. Okay, I've got work to do for clients. I've got bills to pay. I've got to be earning money, and so I don't have the financial freedom to do what I want. I have the political freedom, but that's only part of the gig. If I haven't got the money, then I'm not free. So what do we get instead of financial freedom? If we have the mental fortitude to get back up and dust ourselves off and do it all over again, we end up with just another job trying to motivate and encourage others not to give up. And these are the networking animals that I was talking about, because when you're constantly building a network, and then that network gets decimated because the business fails, and then you have to build another network, and then that gets decimated because that business fails. It's really, really difficult. And I'm sorry if I'm making it sound like hard work. These are all things we have that we're trying to mitigate against. We want our business going forward to be different from this, but these are the things that we've had traditionally. We also get a constant resetting of the counters back to zero. So every time you're in a business and it fails, one, the income from that business disappears, and two, when we start a new venture, none of that existing downline comes across to the new venture without us having to put some time and effort in to convince people to follow us one more time, once more into the breach, dear friends. Okay, and there's a limit to how many times people are going to do that. Even if they like you, they could even love you, okay, but they won't follow you into the breach one more time if all they're getting is decimated from the things you lead them into. So we get a constant resetting of the counters, and that's what hurts. That's what takes the wind out of everybody's sails, if you like. So we want to have a system where we don't reset back to zero just because one business fails. We also don't want to reset to zero downline. Okay, you'll see how we've taken care of both of those things. That's the mainstay of what we're trying to do. You'll see that, and I think that's the bit you're going to like the most. So what else do we want from a business, from an online business? We want peace of mind. We want no worries about future time and money. Okay, that's the lack of peace of mind is what's driving so many people to be unhappy in their lives. It's all very well having some money today, but we've got to keep doing it. We've got to keep We've got to stay on the treadmill. We've got to, keep running around the hamster wheel to keep making more and more money, more and more money. What we did last month, we've got to do again next month. Okay. Otherwise, you get behind really, really quickly. If your income stops for whatever reason, health or just your business is no longer there, or your job is no longer there. Okay, the income can stop, but the bills never stop. And what do we get? We get a constant struggle to maintain a positive attitude. To me, that's the enemy. Is the ability we all have to slip into a negative attitude. And there's a reason historically why we're all slightly more negative than we are positive, and why being positive is hard work. Being negative is not hard work. It's quite natural, and that is because being negative keeps us alive. Okay, if you're living in a jungle, living in a tree, 10,000 years ago, 30,000 years ago, whatever, and you're thinking, well, I tell you what, I don't think there's any problems out there in the jungle. I'm going to get down out of my tree in the middle of the night and have a wander around and see what's going on. Well, you're either going to get eaten by something, bitten by something, or fall off a cliff. Okay, it's much safer to say I'm safe in the tree. I can't see what's going on because it's dark, so I'm going to stay in the tree just in case there's things out there trying to get me. So the negative people, or the people with a negative attitude, survived longer than people that were positive and wanted to get out there and experience life. So that's the difficult bit, to maintain a positive attitude. We're not in danger of being eaten or bitten or fall off a cliff. So we're in a time in history where we can afford to be a little bit more positive. We can have we can put time and effort into generating excitement about our future, about our lives, about the things we're going to do in the future with our time and our money and our effort and helping other people. Okay, but it takes work. It takes work. It's not a natural state. We also get constant worry about the money we've been cheated out of when a business fails. Even if it's not money we've actually lost, if we've earned it and it's gone, that still stings. Constant guilt about the people we've let down. And that's one of the worst, I think, is that people trust us and follow us, and through no fault of ours, we let them down, and now relationships are being damaged. We get despair, that we keep starting again at the bottom. And like I said, that is hard. And we start rationalizing our dreams and goals to fit our current income. So we give up on when we see this an opportunity, and we begin to believe we can have the Rolex and the luxury holidays and the yacht and the ski lodge up in the Alps. Okay, so we start believing that, and then that business goes. Okay, then the next business we get into, we believe, well, yeah, we can have maybe a Tissot timepiece rather than a Rolex. And we might not have a ski lodge, but we can have a timeshare in the ski resort. We might not get a yacht, but we could get a dinghy, and then eventually when we failed so many times, we just give up on all of that and we try to survive day to day. Okay, so we rationalize our dreams and goals to fit our current income, because you've only got two choices. One is to expand your income circle. The other is to shrink your dreams to fit into your current income circle. And that's kind of the death knell, if you like, because I have a saying that says, you're never old until regrets replace your dreams. And this is how it happens. You start shrinking your dreams down until it fits what you can do now with your current circumstances. Therefore, you don't have to try, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to grow your income circle. Okay, you just live within your means. And that's when people start to feel old. They start to feel regret. They start to feel that life's passing them by. They're not going to achieve their life goals, and that's the saddest thing of all. And it's easy to see why, but I think that's the enemy. That's the enemy of our life, of our energy, of our youthfulness. That's what's gonna do us in, and all of a sudden we start getting old because of that. So this isn't just business. I'm bringing a lot of my life philosophy to bear here as well. I've spent a lot of time talking about this and thinking about this with some very powerful and influential people throughout my life. I've been blessed to be mentored by business leaders, by millionaires, and in a couple of cases, billionaires. I've been places, I've seen things, I've met people that most people in their ordinary lives wouldn't even think of. And these are all the ideas and thoughts that rub off on me that I want to pass on to you. That even those people may be successful now, maybe in their mid-30s and early 40s, they might be very successful. And then you see them again when they're 50, in their 50s and early 50s, late 50s, and you see them in a completely different circumstance. Okay, because the wheel keeps turning. The wheel keeps turning, and just because somebody's up right now doesn't mean they're not going to. It doesn't mean they're going to stay up. Ideally, that's what we want to do, but we have to plan that. It doesn't happen by accident. Okay, I'm going to drink some coffee. So what else do we want from a business? We want the ability to leave a legacy. I'm not sure if it's a book. I think many, many years ago, I read a book called The 4 Ls, which is to live, to love, to laugh, and to leave a legacy. And they're the 4 mainstays of a successful life, according to this book. And I kind of agree in after a fashion. The desire to leave a legacy is strong in all of us, which is why if you look at things like Stonehenge, you look at some of the castles and some of the cathedrals that have been built hundreds and hundreds of years ago. If you look at people who want to build a company to pass it on to their children, it's just an innate desire to leave a legacy and pass things on and make the world a better place, leave the world a better place than it was when you found it. That's what all progress is about. Also, the ability to support in a significant way causes that we believe in. So when the charity tins rattled under your face, we put in $10 or £10. We think, boy, we're generous. Most people only give a couple of pounds, couple of dollars. We're giving 10. Boy, we're good. Wouldn't it be good to give 1 million or 10 million? Okay. So the ability to support in a significant way causes that we believe in is a very, very strong motivator. And again, you see people pack up their whole lives and go off to Africa to dig wells for poor people, or go to the Philippines to teach them how to farm, farm husbandry or animal husbandry in a way that's good for the animals and the farmers and the economy and the planet. Okay. And so we have this desire to make a difference with causes that we believe in. You have people in charity shops all over the world, millions of them, spend their time volunteering free of charge to work for that charity. Okay, so this is again a strong desire with us. However, what do we get when we try to do that when we try to get that from an online business? What do we get? We get despair every time the rug gets pulled, just when we felt we were getting somewhere. We get even more guilt that we're letting down those that we desperately want to help. And we get mental pressure leading to more mental and physical health. And this isn't a small thing. This is a big thing. The mental pressure in a business of this type is huge. In your job, you can kind of abdicate responsibility for what's happening to the people that designed the system, the management of the company, if you like. So you're free from some of the mental pressure. But in a business like this, it's your online business, you feel the mental pressure from working something that eventually fails, working with people where you let them down and so on. So that mental pressure can be very, very significant, and it can lead to all sorts of problems, physical and mental and emotional and so on. So we want to avoid that. We don't want any more of that. We've had enough. So why does it happen? There are a number of reasons. There are forces at work that are conspiring against you, and against you and I making a lot of money from online businesses. Okay, and you may think this is a conspiracy theory, but I don't think you have to do very much research to figure out that it's actually true. If it were not true, then how come so many people struggle to make money from online businesses? Because most online businesses are good. They work, the numbers add up, people work hard. Okay, so why do so many of them fail? Well, I don't think you can deny the fact that they fail because somebody deliberately causes them to fail. The forces that work against us ensure scam businesses are successful. They want the scam businesses to be successful at taking as much money as possible from ordinary people. And to that end, I believe that a lot of these scam businesses are backed by these forces that are conspiring against you. And you say, who are these forces? They're not the governments. They're the money people that control the governments. Okay, they're the Schwabs and the Soroses and the Vanderbilts and the Rothschilds. Okay, they have a finger in every single pie. They have a finger in the monetary policy of every single country, and I believe they also promote a lot of these scam businesses so that people will run away with your money and they get their fair share of your money for basically no effort on their part. But it keeps you and I in our place where we're not the ones rattling the cage and getting out of the rat race. We are constantly being told we can get out of the rat race, and then at the last minute, we're being kicked back into the rat race and told, shut up and get on with it. And I can get you thinking the right way about this, because there are organizations in every country set up to monitor the behavior of these scam businesses. And sometimes these are the organizations that close those businesses down. The FCA in the UK, the SEC in America, I believe it's the AIFC in Australia. I'm not sure if I got that right. But you know, in lots of countries, they have these organizations that are part of the government. Yet when they shut one of these businesses down, you and I never get our money back. They're meant to be protecting us. So what do they do instead? They shut that business down. They keep the money. They can very, very easily give the money, find out who the people are, just take over the database, give people the money back. They could do that. It wouldn't take much to do it. You know, none of this jumping through hoops. Oh, well, you've got to give me another $2,000 or you know, another $500. Whatever. No, that's rubbish. If it's your money, it's your money. You should, you know, that organization should give you your money back, but they don't, because they're not interested in you. What they're interested in is keeping you barefoot and pregnant. I don't know if you know that expression. It basically means just, you know, keeping you poor and working, because we're not taught in our school system how to become an entrepreneur, how to succeed in life. What we're taught is how to be a good consumer and a good worker. That's what our whole education system is based on. So they like us to keep working hard, to earn money, to spend on the things they tell us we should spend our money on. And if we're not spending our money in the way they want us to, they introduce regulations to make sure we do. Okay, and I'm sorry if this sounds like a conspiracy theory, but the more you think about it, the more you realize that I'm right. So these forces also ensure that legitimate businesses suffer cyber attacks, problems with the real world applications, problems with government regulators, all sorts of different things. So you have a scam business that's set up that's encouraged to succeed until it no longer succeeds, because that's what scams are all about. And then you also have legitimate businesses that are set up, and as soon as they start becoming successful, accidents befall them. You know, there's I don't know. It's like the Clinton body count, I suppose. You just can't ignore you when you see enough of it. You just can't ignore it anymore. Okay, and they also poison the well across the whole industry as a deterrent. They would really love to shut this whole part of the industry down, and you and I not have any opportunity to make money outside their system. So and you can see this, there's more and more regulations coming into force now, right now, as I speak, that mean that your exchange, so you have a responsibility to report your earnings about cryptocurrency to your government. Whether you do or not, it's entirely up to you. But there are regulations in place telling you to do that. Okay. I don't know what that's got to do with I don't know what your online business has got to do with your government, but they want to know that when you make some money, they're going to get their slice of the pie. So that's why it happens. It also, excuse me. The good news is that it's not your fault that you've been unsuccessful up till now. Okay, it just isn't your fault. A lot of people get despondent thinking they've done something wrong. No, they haven't. You are powerless to fight against these forces if you don't even know these forces exist. The bad news is these forces are very powerful indeed. You can see them destroying banks. I heard there's another bank in America that's going to go bust in the next week or so. They destroy whole industries, whole countries. You know, the whole idea of what's happening in Ukraine is the destruction of a country. The whole thing that happened with Germany in the Third World War was the destruction of Germany because they didn't want a central bank that's controlled by the Rothschilds. And back in 1933, that was the whole start of all the trouble. I know it ended in a different way to that, but that's what started all the trouble. They didn't want their money controlled by the Rothschilds. So, of course, they had to go. That's what happened to Tsar Nicholas II, of course. He upset Baron Rothschilds. He had to go. So these people are very, very powerful. They'll destroy whole countries just to get what they want. In the online world, you see that even the largest players in the space are not beyond their reach. Binance has just been hauled over the coals. Coinbase has been hauled over the coals. They've had to change their the way they operate so that if your government decides that they want information from Binance about what's in your Binance account, they've got to provide it. They don't need your permission. It's not your money anymore. If it's in a Binance account, it's Binance's money. It's just on your account. And what that means is when we don't understand this term on account anymore. We think it means it's ours. It isn't. It means that it belongs to somebody else, but it's accounted to us. There's a little tick in the box to say that if we want it, we can have it. Unless, of course, they decide they don't want to give it to us. So on account doesn't mean we own it. It means they own it. But we can, if we follow the rules, then we can have access to that money. And if your government says to Binance or Coinbase, we want you to freeze that money and give it to us, they will. That's the new regulations they've just signed up to a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so more and more we look at decentralized, non-custodial wallets. Never leave your money in an exchange unless you're actually trading. Never leave your money in one of these online exchanges just, because you think it's easy. Always use your own non-custodial wallet like Exodus or Trust Wallet or MetaMask or the best ones, of course, are the cold wallets, Trezor, Ledger, okay, because that gives you absolute control over your money. Nobody can tell you what to do with it. And you unplug that from the internet and it's absolutely safe. So we've looked at what the problems are, and the fact is the problem won't fix itself. You have to do something about it. You cannot fix the problem with the same mindset that allowed the problem to affect you previously. And what we've been doing previously is getting into a business, building it like crazy, and then watch it go, the plug get pulled, and we lose all the time, money, effort, relationships, and so on that we put into that business. We can't fix the problem if we keep doing that. You need to plan things better and then execute your plan. And that's kind of what I'm trying to bring to the table is a better plan. I better get a move on. I think I might have to cut a few things out of my presentation. So what sort of plan do we need? We need a plan that has a wide base of operations. If the operations are too narrow, it's going to be very easy to topple like a vertical pile of bricks. But a wide base made of bricks is not very high, is much more stable. And in this analogy, the bricks are the platforms that meet our very exacting criteria. If you want to build a castle to survive the ages, you don't use chalk or limestone, you use granite or basalt. So we want to try to use the best materials we can to build our business. We need a plan that has mortar between the bricks, and that's where Wealth Warriors community comes in. We stick together as a community. We support and, dare I say, love each other. Okay, we work together so that if you pick up a single pencil, most of us could probably snap that pencil in half. If you pick up 6 pencils and wrap them together, tie them together with masking tape, you probably find it a lot more difficult to break 6 pencils. If you put 20 pencils together, you probably couldn't break 20 pencils in one go. So that's kind of where the community comes together. Between us, we have strengths that we can lend to other people. We can support people with ideas and thoughts and encouragement. Okay, and tips and techniques as well. I mean, why not? Now, what we're proposing won't work if we select the wrong platforms, and it won't work for you if you don't commit to the community. And I'll probably touch on that a little bit later. About Wealth Warriors, we're the system that makes the whole thing work. And your commitment to Wealth Warriors, if you want to be part of the community, and you don't have to be, you can get in this, just use one platform or two platforms. You don't have to be part of the community. But if you don't become part of the community, nothing's changed for you. You haven't learned from past mistakes. You said, well, I see what you're doing. What a brilliant way of organizing things for the future. I can see how it's going to be beneficial to have a number of platforms and work together as a community and so on. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to adopt one of these platforms. Well, just by adopting one of these platforms means that you're in exactly the same boat as you've always been. That's great. I'm not going to decry you for that. If that's all you want to do, that's fine. But you're missing the whole point of what we're trying to achieve with Wealth Warriors. I said right at the beginning, I was talking to somebody who has seen this many, many times now, maybe 10 times. And we've had discussions about it, and they still haven't got it. And this is the bit they haven't got, is not about the platforms, it's about the community. The platforms will come and go. Okay, what we want to do is to put you in a position so when the platforms do go, you still have the support of the community. You don't lose everything. You don't reset back to zero with your relationships with people. You don't reset back to zero with your income. But if all you have is one of the platforms we recommend, then you're still in the same boat. So your commitment to Wealth Warriors is to maintain lines of sponsorship across all platforms. Sign up in all the platforms that we adopt. Now, I've got a little text document that I send to people, and in it there's a paragraph of explanation, and then there's my referral links to all 4 platforms, and then there's some instructions about what page to go to, what buttons to press in order to register, and in order to make your first deposit. We select platforms if we can. We select platforms where you can sign up for free. So even if you sign up in all 4 now and only fund one of them, and then in a few weeks' time when you've got a bit more money, you fund another one, and a few weeks later you fund another one, that's better than only signing up in one platform. Okay, so sign up in all 4 platforms. When you do that, then take that little text document and add your links in there and pass it on to your people. So everybody signs up for all the platforms. Get your personally introduced people to do the same. Support your own people by learning all about the platforms that we adopt. There's only 4 of them. They're not massively difficult. We have a Telegram group where we post information, and they can come on this Zoom call and learn a little bit about each of them. Most importantly, they can go on the Zoom calls organized by those companies to learn a lot more. And supporting and encourage all other Wealth Warriors. I hate to see people that are trying to achieve the same thing, squabbling about the meaning of a few words or whether one person more right than the other. I'd much rather see people spending their time and energy encouraging and supporting each other. And that's what we want in the Wealth Warriors. If you want to go and have an argument with somebody else, then don't do it around our Telegram groups. Do it in a private chat. What are the benefits? So why are we doing all this? Why would you do what I've suggested? Because I can tell, I can sense there's some resistance. There's always resistance when you try to change things. And if you haven't got the hang of this yet, and you might not have done, you might need to see it another half a dozen times. And I do get messages every day, somebody saying, got it, the penny's dropped. Okay, so don't worry if you don't get it the first 3, 4, 5, 10 times, it doesn't matter. But this is why we're doing it. These benefits, there's 6 main benefits. Benefit number 1, never reset your growing finances to 0 just because a platform fails. This gives you time to develop a long-term approach to building the product or the passive side of your business. You're not in a tearing hurry to get it done. You haven't got to jump into something with $5,000 that you can't afford to lose. You can start with $100 and build it up over the next year. Okay, because you have time. Benefit 2, introduce your friends and family to a system, knowing that they will make money from the system, and you will never have to feel guilt at letting people down and losing the money. Even though you didn't lose the money, they lost the money themselves, but you still feel the guilt. I certainly do. Okay, so you can start introducing people with impunity because you know that they're going to be looked after by the system. Benefit 3, start every new platform with an existing community so that you never start a new platform from zero. Build on your team building success over a long period of time. Okay, and again, if you're just getting into one platform and you build it, maybe you build a team of 100 people and that platform fails, you start the next platform with no people. And that 100 people, you may recruit, I don't know, may recruit 10 of them back again. Probably not. Okay, so all of that time and effort invested into those relationships, that's all gone. However, what we're saying is you don't do that. What you do is everybody's committed to joining all of the platforms that you're promoting, that we're promoting. And so when there's a new platform, let's suppose you get halfway up a bonus system with one platform and it fails, and we go out and find another platform and say, well, this is our replacement for that particular one, then your 100 people sign up in exactly the same order within the new platform. And so straight away, you're halfway up the bonus system of the new platform. So you might have been making a little bit more money in the first platform, a little bit less in the second one, but you're not starting from zero again. You might have been making a bit less money in the first one and a bit more in the second one. We don't know. But you're not starting from zero. You slot your whole group straight into the new platform. And it also takes away from this haphazard idea of, I've got to be the first one into this business. I've got to be upline to everybody. You don't want to be upline to everybody unless you're prepared to work your socks off. People who go upline from people and then don't work their socks off don't ever achieve anything. It's such hard work being a leader. It is. I would much rather have somebody, being my leader that I can turn to for help and advice and guidance. Okay, in this particular system, I don't have, but I would much rather that. And I've spoken to many people as well where they say, here's a platform I think will work. I say, okay, do you want to introduce me, or do you want me to introduce you? And half of them say, I'd like you to introduce me. I couldn't support people the way you do. So, this mad dash to be upline isn't always for the best. We don't do that within Wealth Warriors. We don't do that. We maintain lines of sponsorship. So there is no tearing hurry. We introduce a new platform, and in a slow and systematic way, over the course of a couple of weeks or so, we make sure everybody signs up in exactly the right order in the new platform. Okay, so that's one of the benefits. There's some more benefits here. We only get involved with good, solid platforms that have longevity, profitability, and reliability, the result of a platform meeting all of our criteria. Okay, so we've looked at so many businesses that when we tighten up on the criteria, a lot of these businesses have failed, gone by the way. So not failed, they've just gone by the wayside. I've joined so many businesses over the last few months that I'm no longer promoting, I'm no longer actively involved with. I put $100 into one thing, I put $1,000 into something else. And when I realize what they're all about, then I just put it on the back burner. I'll get that money back eventually. But in any other system, this would be your money that you're putting in to find out about these businesses. Okay, so we only get involved with good, solid platforms. And we learn strategies and techniques designed to multiply your income, not just increase your income, but we love to multiply your income. One of the things I love to do is to analyze the business, to look at how we can turn what they're giving us into a compounding effect. Now, they don't always give us that option. Sometimes they do, but they don't always. But with a little bit of analysis and a bit of a strategic approach, I can produce a system where you compound, and I'm going to show you one of those in a little bit. You've got to learn how to be the mortar between the bricks that keeps your business strong and profitable for a very long time to come. Okay, you do that just by helping people, supporting people, answering their questions, only giving them right information. Don't give people your opinion disguised up as factual information. If it's your opinion, tell them it's your opinion. Okay, but if it's so I believe a lot of damage is done in this business by people passing off their thoughts and ideas as information, and it really isn't. Benefit 6, have access to a training system that will help you duplicate your time and effort, which will multiply your income and financial security and decrease your workload. If you think about it, that's the basic principle of a network marketing business. You want to duplicate yourself. So if you can put in 10 hours a week and you duplicate yourself, then you have 20 hours a week being put into your business. And then if both of you duplicate yourself again, that's 40 hours a week being put into your business. Okay, so that's what we're trying to achieve. Is not everybody's going to be like you, but we want to find a few people like you that are dynamic, that are forward thinking, that have put some energy in, got a commitment to working with people and helping other people and getting the job done. And the training system that we provide will help you with that. So our criteria for adopting a platform: it must be available in the whole world. It must have a uni-level compensation plan. I've already expressed my dislike for binaries and forced matrices and all these other bits of nonsense that are out there to prevent you from earning the full amount that you're entitled to. People must be able to join for free or get involved in a passive income program for a very low entry cost, i.e. $100. The reason for this is we're saying to people, maintain lines of sponsorship. So just sign up in all 4 platforms. Okay, and we at the moment all 4 platforms that people can sign up into are free. Okay, so it's not a problem to ask everybody to sign up in all 4 platforms. But if you needed, if the minimum level in one was $1,000 and in another was $500, all of a sudden you're asking people to sign up in all 4 platforms, but it's going to cost you $1,500. It's difficult to do. It's a tough ask. Some people that we find, but most people would argue against that, and so it's not in the best interest of wealth warriors and the community to have the entry point at something like $500. Now, the combination of 1, 2, and 3 means that we can maintain the lines of sponsorship across all the platforms. I just explained that. The other thing about the platform is that it must be based on real world applications, not just a money game or a shell game. We must be able to verify the company's legal status and its involvement in real world activities. Now, I've put together a presentation for today about 4 platforms, but one of the platforms we've not been able to cover this particular aspect. So I'm going to skip over it. I'm only going to present 3 platforms today, unless we can actually verify this in the next few days, then in which case we'll reinstate it. If not, then we'll replace it. If possible, we must be able to meet the CEO or business owner, and having met him or her, we must have gotten all of our questions answered. So many times we ask questions and we get some information, but we find later our questions haven't actually been answered. The compensation plan must be viable and sustainable. And it's amazing how many people look at a compensation plan and get blown away by it, but they don't run a calculator over it or a spreadsheet to find out if it actually works. There are so many compensation plans out there that won't work, which means that when there are enough people at these higher levels, the company can't sustain paying out at that level, that many people at that level, and therefore it's not sustainable, so therefore we don't do it. The membership of Wealth Warriors must all be able to get behind the project. Okay, now we're all different people. We've all got likes and dislikes and so on. But there are certain things like gambling, money lending, arms dealing, certain things that we just want to avoid because we want everybody in the community to be able to get behind it. So people said, somebody presented me a gambling opportunity a while ago, and I said, I love this, but it's to do with gambling. So we won't be doing it because there are too many people in our groups that won't that won't get involved if there's gambling. Okay, they won't sign up in that platform, and therefore it kind of breaks the lines of sponsorship thing, which is one of the basic tenets. So we're going to hold regular Zoom meetings. There's this one now, and there's another one in about, where are we? In about 4 hours' time. There's a different link to register for that, and that's going to be in the 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in America. People must pre-register for Zoom calls. We've had so many less hooligans on these Zoom calls since we've asked people to pre-register. At the Zoom meetings, we'll introduce the concept of platform independent community, and we'll give a very brief overview of each platform. We'll also promote the platform-specific Zoom calls. Well, in fact, we're not doing that on this call. We're doing that in the Telegram group. We have a Telegram group called Wealth Warriors, and the main means of communication within the community will be in the Wealth Warriors open forum. That's where we can chat about the community. The group separated into a number of topics, one for each platform adopted. And sometimes we jump the gun and we put a topic in there that has to eventually go. So you'll see there's a couple in there that will be going soon. But that information will be available. We don't, if we get into a platform and then decide not to proceed with it, we don't just abandon everybody. We move that out of Wealth Warriors, and somebody looks after that group of people. So, but it's no longer part of the Wealth Warriors group. And we ask not to chat in the platform-specific topics, but you can post useful information. An informative article is not found elsewhere. Okay, for example, you might make a video about how to make a deposit under certain circumstances. We'll send that to one of the admins, and we'll add it to the topic for the benefit of everybody. If the company runs its own Zoom calls, we'll promote those. All members must sign up in all platforms, even if they will not be active in all of them immediately. And we advise to enter 1 or 2 platforms at the minimum level initially and build from there. You'll have the ability to add your new people to the group. People often write to me and say, I can't add this person. Can you add them for me? No. I don't have any more rights to add people than you do. If you can't add them, neither can I. What they've done is set their security and privacy settings too high, and so nobody can add them to the group. So just get back to them, tell them to change their privacy settings, and you'll be able to add them. We don't give out invitation links because spammers get hold of them, and all of a sudden we've got an infestation of sleazeballs trying to steal your people from your group, and I won't permit that. So no invitation links. If you invite spammers into the group, it's sometimes hard to separate out who the spammers are from the people that introduced them. Okay, so if we have to slash and burn to get rid of the scammers and you end up being removed from the group as well, apologies, but in fairness, you invited the spammers in the first place. You agree to no chatting on the various topics. Well, I think we switched that off anyway. You must use your real name and your Telegram username. If you don't know how to make a Telegram username, then search on Google how to make a Telegram username, and it'll tell you. Okay, Mr. Google knows lots of stuff, but we insist that you have a real name, your real name, and a Telegram username. Negative or disparaging comments will be removed. Just as simple as that. Consistent negative or disparaging comments may cause you to be removed from the group. Nobody wants to be around somebody who's just consistently negative, fearful, bringing everybody else down, smelling like a dead fish. We'd rather just cut the losses and remove somebody like that from the group. Spamming will get you removed from the group immediately with no warning. This includes enticing people through private messages. I added that because we've seen it recently where people put private messages out there about just a subtle hint about things they're doing, and then you start a conversation with them, and all of a sudden they're poaching you away to their own business. So we don't allow the private messages in the first place. Promotion of other opportunities will not be tolerated and may result in your immediate removal from the group. And when I'm talking about you, bear in mind I'm also trying to protect the people that you bring into the group. Imagine in a few months' time you've got 100 people in the group. do you want some sleazy scammer approaching all of your people that you've spent time and effort, bringing into the group? Okay, and then these scumbags just turn up and start saying, "Oh, come and join me over here. It's so much better." So I'm protecting you, but I'm also protecting your group. And if you want to bring an opportunity to the attention of the leaders, send a private message to me, and we can look at it. We are constantly looking at new opportunities. I think that the system we've got will probably end up with 6 different opportunities, but at the moment we don't have 6, so we're still looking. So we've adopted 3 platforms. Property Robots is crowdfunding the manufacture of pre-sold house printing robots. Equinox Trust Limited invest in Forex and cryptocurrency trading. They do so much more than that, but this is like a little corner of what they do, the cryptocurrency trading. So we've just latched onto that little bit. And Afikoman Finances is investment in all financial instruments, including cryptocurrencies. Tower Stake is one we've been looking at. This is the one we can't verify who the company, we can't verify who the CEO is, we can't get anybody to talk to us. So we like it. It's a good little platform, but if it doesn't meet the criteria, we can't use it, because one day we'll wake up and it'll be gone. That's my belief at this stage, which is a shame. Like I say, I do like it. But let's look at a little bit more information on these. Property Robots is crowdfunding the manufacture of 3D concrete printing robots. The robots can build a house shell in 48 to 72 hours from start. They can build a luxury villa in 14 days. I mean, a big luxury villa. They can build houses and schools. So they can build schools and fire stations and police stations and shops and blocks of offices. Okay, so there are many, many projects around the world starting up with not just the houses. I mean, there are so many millions of houses needed around the world, but in a lot of these areas, as well as building a few thousand houses in an area, it's going to need some shops and some offices and schools and clinics and so on. Okay, so the robots can build all of these, and that's why housing ministries all over the world, predominantly all over Africa, they're ordering dozens and dozens of these robots at a time. When I started this slide, it was we already had orders of 300 million, and I believe right now we have orders of $450 million. Construction companies will buy 10 to 20 robots at a time. The robot manufacturing is in Manchester. The same manufacturing is not really, it's assembly. We just order in all the parts. It goes to Manchester and they bolt it all together, crate it all up and send it out. We are working on another assembly facility in Dubai, because that's an easy jump off point for a lot of the places where the customers are. Our income comes from 20% of each robot sold. So for every robot, there's $50,000 in profit. The profits returned to your back office daily in USDT TRC20 and can be withdrawn at any time. There is a minimum withdrawal level of, I think, $50, but but that's the only thing that would stop you withdrawing your profits. And you compound with this system by buying more plans with your profits. I've already purchased an extra plan for this. So I purchased the plan initially, and then from the profits of that, I purchased the second plan, and I'm working my way up now to buying a third plan. So that's how you compound. The compensation plan is unilevel, and you can invest in different amounts, $100 all the way up to $100,000. It says it will double in 168 days. That's changed. I noticed that today it's changed. It's 252 days. The time it takes to double your money, or for the contract to expire, I should say, depends on a number of different things, but it does change over time. That period of time will get shorter or longer, dependent on a number of different things within the company. But even so, if you invest some money in this and it doubles in 252 days, that's about just over 8 months. So you're doubling your money in just over 8 months. I'd like to see any bank in the world that's doing that for you, right now. You get direct commissions, so there's a compensation plan. Direct commissions are differential bonuses from 8% to 40% on 14 different levels. So whichever level you're on, you have a percentage commission associated with that level, and you receive the difference between your level and the next level down in the line of sponsorship, if you like, where the investment was made. So if you're on 40% and the next person down in that leg is on 20%, you receive a 20% commission. If you're on 40% and the next person down in that leg is on 24%, then you receive 14% commission. So it's fairly easy to understand. There's also some other bonuses. One is a one-time rank achievement bonus. The least you can earn on the rank achievement is $250, all the way up to $4 million. Now, it's only a one-off payment of $4 million, but by the time you get there, you'd have been paid another couple of $1 million in other bonuses as you work your way up through the system. Okay, $4 million as a one-off payment is more than my boss is going to give me, more than my boss has ever given me any single year in my life. So even if it takes 2 or 3 years to get there, it's worth doing. Career builder bonuses are paid for once you qualify for them. They're paid for 6 months in a row. So the least that you get paid, I believe, is $250. Once you achieve that, you get that for 6 months, and the most you can get on the career builder bonus is $300,000 per month. And when you qualify for that, you get it for 6 months. And of course, the idea is that you qualify for that bonus again within that 6-month period, and you or qualify for the next level up within that 6-month period, so you can qualify for it over and over and over again. I'm not going to show this video. We're going to go into, so that's property robots. Let's talk about Equinox Trust. Investments are available in oil, gold, Bitcoin mining, cannabis, forex trading via PAM or MAM, which is suitable for everyone. It's pool trading, so it's suitable in the US. Cryptocurrency trading. And this is the niche part, if you like. What I've talked about, just the first 2 points are what they do in general. The thing we're focusing on is just the cryptocurrency trading. You can also off-ramp your crypto earnings directly into your own block card, MasterCard. So they give you when you're earning at a certain level, they'll give you a MasterCard, and you can just take your earnings from whatever part of their system you're earning money, you put it straight onto your MasterCard and go and spend it. You don't need to off-ramp through, who do I use? Crypto.com. Do a nice credit, a nice Visa card system. Okay, but I have to move it through an exchange in order to put it on the card, and that means somebody's watching what I'm doing. Whereas with these people, they just put it straight onto your MasterCard. Nobody else is involved in the transaction, and so you maintain your privacy. Capital investment advice is available once you're registered. Fully regulated and invested funds are protected by insurance up to $20,000. So if you lose up to $20,000, you're insured. There's also retirement and pension fund investment packages available. So you might want to look at that. I'm not going to offer any advice about that, but they do have advisors available within the company. You can talk to them, and they'll help you maybe take some of the money you earn from this and put it through a pension system or pension investment. I don't know, it's up to you. Like I said, the thing that we're going to focus on is the cryptocurrency trading. There are 4 cryptocurrency investment plans. The first one is the starter plan. And the starter plan is if you invest between $100 and $9,000, you get 1.75% per day, and the plan lasts for 24 hours. If you introduce somebody that takes out a starter plan, you get 7% of whatever they deposit. So if they deposit $100, then you get $7. Okay, and we recommend to people don't come in with $9,000. Come in with $100. Work your way up. You've got time to build it up. Now the thing with this one is that you have to, every single 24 hours, you go in and you reinvest. You hit a couple of buttons. I've put a video available in the Wealth Warriors group under Equinox Trust, very simply about how to make an investment. Very quick and easy. Push a couple of buttons and it's done. And I'll show you this on a chart in a minute. What this is, this little image is showing is that if you start with $100, you get 1.75% per day for 1 year. Okay, and you get daily commission, compound every single day. Then that at the end of that year, your $100 has been increased to $56,000. Okay, so yes, it's a slow burn, but it does, at some point, it does start taking off and becomes quite significant. Long before you get to that point, of course, you'll have hit the top level of $9,000. So, you just be aware of the fact that you won't actually get to $56,000. I suppose you could if you just keep reinvesting below the $9,000 level, and then but eventually you're going to be going in and every day you're going to be placing 20 different plans, 30 different plans, 40 different plans, all below the $9,000 level. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying it then takes you 2 hours a day to do that, and then 3 hours a day, and then 4 hours a day. So I suppose what I'm saying is the choice is yours. So that's the starter plan. The advanced plan is if you invest between $9,000 and $16,000, you get 2.5% per day. But you get that for 5 days. Okay, so it doesn't compound. You just get the flat rate of 2.5% on whatever you've invested. So if you invest $10,000, you get $250 a day for 5 days. So at the end of that, then you've got $11,250. You then reinvest that. You get 2.5% per day on 11,250. Okay, so if you introduce somebody and they take out one of these plans, you get a 7% referral bonus. So if they introduce, if they make a deposit of $10,000, you get $700. I think that's right. Yes. You get if you look at the little spreadsheet at the bottom there, if you start at the bottom of the bracket for 5 days, 2.5% interest, you get $1,125. If you start with $16,000, then you get $2,000 over the 5-day period. Okay, so you've made it. You've now got $18,000. And bear in mind, once you get over the $16,000, you have to move up to, or you can take out multiple plans within the same space. But let's consider that you move up then to the gold plan, which is the third plan. You invest between $16,000 and $30,000. You get 4% a day for 8 days. And again, if you introduce somebody and they take out one of these plans, you get a 7% commission. So if you invest $16,000 for 8 days, you get 4%, which is $5,120 profit. Okay, on 16,000, that's pretty awesome. 30,000 investment at 4% gives you 9,600. So it's almost a third. You earn almost a third, 4% for 8 days, which is about right because 4 eighths is 32, so you get 32%. If you want to invest over 30,000, then you go up to the premium plan. 30,000 to the sky's the limit. In fact, the sky isn't the limit. So you get 35% per month. So the plan duration is 1 month. If somebody takes out one of these plans, then you receive a 10% commission. Now, if you're smart, you'd have noticed that 4% a day for 30 days is much, much better than 35% a month. So what you might want to do is go back to the gold plan and have many of these different gold plans on the go at any one time. So if you built your money up to multiples of these figures, then rather than moving up to the premium plan, you might stay here and have 2 of these plans, 3 of these plans, 4 of these plans. And it's only when it gets to be a silly number of these plans that you decide you're going to actually put some money into moving up to the premium plan. Because the 35% per month is nowhere near as good as 4% per day for 8 days. Or just to clarify, 35% per month is just over 1% a day. However, if you start with $30,000, you make $10,500 in a month. And if you start with $100,000, which is just an arbitrary figure, then you get 35,000 in the month. So Aficamum Finances, so that's the end of Equinox. Aficamum Finance is a private club made available to our community members. We're not allowed to get out there and advertise this across the internet and Facebook and places like that. We can talk about it here. This is because Wealth Warriors is also a private club. They have over 100 different investment plans. So you have all the benefits of being an institutional investor. And I've talked about institutional investors before. They're the ones that make the good money in the industry. Crypto assets investment profit from arbitrage and trading. You can also invest in the Polkadot ecosystem development. Polkadot is the up-and-coming ecosystem in the crypto world. There are many different portfolios to invest in. You can invest in different hedge funds. But again, we're just going to take a small corner of what they do. We're going to focus on the crypto trading plans. They've got 3 cryptocurrency investment plans. The first one is the equity investment plan, which is from $200 to $10,000, and you get 1.8% per day for 5 days. So this is very comparable to what we've just been looking at. I don't normally like to have several platforms covering the same thing. I think we can stand to have 2 doing the same thing, but we wouldn't want 5, 6 different platforms all investing in cryptocurrency. We're going to look at some with even better real-world applications in the very near future. So if you invest $200 for 5 days, you make $18. And if you invest $10,000 for 5 days, you make $900. You might look at $18 for $200 investment. You might say, well, that's not very good. But then, of course, you redo that. You put 218 back in, and you get back 200 and I think it's 242, and then you put 242 back in, and the whole thing takes off. It snowballs. I haven't done a spreadsheet for that, but I will before very long. The second plan with Aficamum is the professional plan, and that's an investment between $10,000 and $50,000. So you get 3.5% for 10 days. I've done that spreadsheet wrong, haven't I? Because I've just done the duration of 5 days. So $10,000, 3.5%, 350, 700. Yeah, I've done it wrong. Even so, I'm sure you can see the principle, the idea there is that you make money whether you invest $10,000 or $50,000, and the idea is to work with the smaller plan, build it up, take some income out, but also keep building the plan until you can get into this plan, and then keep building that until you get into this plan, which is 6% per day for 15 days. Which is pretty good. It's not as good as the last one we were talking about, but 6% per day is an excellent return. And all I would say with this is make sure that you have a system for taking income out, taking profit out as an income, but also putting some back in to reinvest, so that if something does happen to this, because this is exactly the sort of platform where we say, well, it's too good to last. I've looked at what they're doing, and it looks like it's all it's all working fine. But 6% interest per day is a huge return. There's no doubt about it. So we just need to be circumspect. We need to be a little bit cautious. So that's the 3 plans for the Afrikaman Finance, and this is their these are their stats from their annual report, looking at their performance. Okay, the total return for the year 404 million. Okay, I'm not going to go into tower stake because I said we're still looking into that. So what do you do now? Get the referral links from all the platforms from the person who invited you to this presentation. And like I say, I've made a little text document that I just send to people. It's got some explanation in there, some words of encouragement, some my referral links, plus instructions about how to register and how to fund initially. So if you get hold of that, just swap out my links for your links and you're ready to go. Register in all the opportunities and make a note of all your referral links. Pass these links on to your existing frontline members or to people you invite to see this presentation, and make a minimum payment into all opportunities. If you can't do this, select the project that interests you the most and make minimum payments to get that platform started. But also remember to fund the others as soon as you can. Being funded in just 1 out of the 4 platforms is no real benefit. Ask your introducer to be added to the Wealth Warriors Telegram group. Attend a Zoom call or watch the video for each platform you've added funds to your account. Then at a later stage, as new platforms are added, make sure to get the referral link from your upline and join as quickly as possible. Not a mad scramble to beat the rush, but you've got people waiting for your link, so you register quickly and then pass the link on to them quickly. Pass your referral link to your existing team. Get on a presentation for that new platform as soon as possible. And in fact, what I've done is I keep a spreadsheet of all of my referrals, and I'm using Property Robots as the master list. So whoever's in that line of sponsorship in Property Robots, that's the line of sponsorship we maintain throughout all the other platforms. So as Property Robots tells me that there are new people in my Property Robots business, I add them to the spreadsheet, and then that's my master list for the line of sponsorship within my business. I suggest you do the same, because when we add a new platform, you want to know who you need to send your link to whom you need to send your link even. A quick reminder, we're building a solid foundation on which we can base our financial futures. We only want to work with companies that are in it for the long term. We only want to work with companies that are above board. We want to build a large asset, which in turn will deliver us a large income, whatever that asset is, whether it's concrete printing robots, rice farms in Africa, cryptocurrency trading, whatever it is, we want to have that asset to grow, to give us a better income in the future. Only platforms that meet our rigorous criteria are even considered. We want to apply our rules to this industry to achieve our outcomes, not be at the mercy of any one company, because it's kind of difficult to bear this in mind. We don't really care what the platforms are doing. We care what we're doing with those platforms. We're writing our own rules. We're setting our own course. Okay, we're navigating our own course, and we are the ones in control, not the platforms. We don't want the platforms in control. So we may find ourselves doing things slightly different from what the platform actually recommends, which is fine, because the platform, we are doing things different. The platform doesn't care about us. It only cares about the platform, whereas we as a community care about each other. And it's us being together, is us against the world, is us being our own freedom fighters. That's what's important. And it's our rules that matter, not the companies. Finally, it's important to remain safe on the internet and in the world of online opportunities at all times. Do not share your password or other credentials with anyone. Where it's available, set up your 2FA on your accounts. If you don't know what this is or how to do it, Google 2FA. Google knows these things. Back up your passwords and your 2FA codes in a secure location. Make sure the executors of your will or your beneficiaries have access to this information in the event of your death. And I'll also add into this about your non-custodial wallets. If you've set up Exodus or a ledger device or something like that, in the process of setting it up, you were given 12 mnemonic phrases. Okay, make sure that not only have you written them down and kept them safe, and if you can, put them in the safe, but also make sure your beneficiaries or the executors of your will know about those phrases and those passwords, and that they're available to them. Wouldn't it be a shame to spend a few years building up a small fortune with wealth warriors, and when it comes, to time to pass it on to your beneficiaries, nobody even knows you've got those accounts. Nobody even knows you own that money. Okay, so make sure it's all available. It's shared somewhere, but share it securely. Develop a strategy for each of the platforms that you're involved with and stick to your strategy. Again, I'll just give you a quick example of this, and I do apologize. I'm going to be running over. I'm going to be running over for a few minutes, but I think this is worth looking at. Okay, so this is the Equinox plans, and this is what I've done with it. So on day one, I started with $100, and I got back 101.75. So I put that in on day two, and I got back 103, which I put in on day three, and got back 105, and so on. I earned a commission of $7, so I've added that in. But I'm going to delete that for purposes of this presentation. So here we are now. This is where I'm up to. I've made 31% profit or 32% profit in 16 days. When I get to change this. So when I get to this point here, I can withdraw my $100. Okay, I've got $200, so I've doubled my money. And now I'm back to $100. Okay, and I carry on building. Slowly, it's a very slow burn. But eventually it gets to 1,000. Pretty soon it's 2,000, 6,000. Okay, and this is the top of the plan now. I've just gone over $9,000. So what I could do is split this up and have several other plans at this level. But for $9,000 now, I can go over to the advanced plan. I just want to share with you very quickly. It's taken me 300 days. Starting with $100 has taken 300 days. So just under a year to get to this point. Okay, so we've not put in $20,000 and risked it all, but if we did put $20,000 in, of course, back up here, we could withdraw $20,000 after 40 days. So that's where the risk is in those first 40 days. Once you've got there and you're taking your money back out, everything else is risk-free because it's just free money. All it's costing you is some time. Well, let's suppose you stick with this and you start with $100. By 300 days, you've got $9,000. So you go over to the advanced plan and you start with $9,000. After 25 days, you can now withdraw $9,000, which means that goes back down from 16 to 7, because you can't go any further than 16. So you've got to withdraw your 9, and then you build it back up again to 16 again. And now you take your 16, which is the top of the plan, and you move it over to the gold plan. So you start this with $16,000. When you get to day 24, the highest you can go with this is 30,000, I think. Is that? Yes, I think it is. So in fact, a little bit out there. It's here. You should be withdrawing your 30,000. It's here. You should be withdrawing your 16,000. Okay, and then let it build up again. After 39 days, you've got to $35,000 again. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's 35. Okay, take out your 16,000, let it build up again, After 39 days, you've got too much money to stick with this plan. And so you take your $35,000 or your $30,000 over to the premium plan. Now this is monthly. So after 3 months, you withdraw your 30,000, and from then on, what I'd say you should do is withdraw some as income and reinvest some. So you're constantly increasing the amount in your plan, but you've also got a nice income coming in. And you can see it doesn't take long then before it gets to be a very significant amount of money. Now, by the time we've got, the interesting thing about this is we started with $100. By the time we get to this point, we've recovered $100, and we waited and grew it to 9,000, and then we withdrew $9,000. Then we grew it to $16,000, and at some point we took that $16,000 out. Then we grew the fund to $30,000, and now we've taken the $30,000 out. So at this point, we put $100 in. We've taken $55,000 out. It's taken about 480 days, something like that. So about a year and a half to get to this point. And now we've got an asset that's going to produce us an income and continue to grow on into the future. The time input for this is to do this initially, is about 3 minutes a day. Once you get the hang of how to do that reinvestment, it's about 2 or 3 minutes a day. So it's not something you have to spend your whole life doing. Now, that's what I mean when I say on this slide, okay, develop a strategy for each of the platforms. So that's the strategy I'm adopting for Equinox. You can have a completely different strategy. All I'm saying is have a strategy. The reason is because when you're right back at the beginning, you've got plans of making $1 million within the next year and a half, but you're only reinvesting $1.75 a day. You're thinking, is it worth it? Should I take some money and run? Okay. That's when you need to have the discipline to say, no, I have a strategy. I'm going to stick to the strategy. And every single day I go into the site and I reinvest my $2.27. Tomorrow I'm going to reinvest my $2.31. In fact, I think that was today. So tomorrow is $2.35. Okay. It's just discipline. You've got to have the discipline to do it. Otherwise you'll never get there. Okay, now back to the slide. Just because the company running a platform introduces a special offer does not mean it will fit your strategy. Often it's a sign the company wants members to deposit a lot of money quickly. So I don't trust any of these platforms, and I suggest you don't either. And if a company says special offer, we'll give you this much money, you give us $1,000 today, we'll give you back $2,000 tomorrow. Just try to figure out why they're trying to do that, and it might be a money grab. So discuss it. Don't just say, oh, that looks good, I'm going to do it. A lot of people have done that in the past. And of course, that's exactly the thing that the company is trying to do. Grab a load of money quickly because they want to pull the rug. So just be aware of these sorts of tactics. Do not use or invest money that you cannot afford to lose, ever. That's why I'm suggesting you start Equinox with $100. You start Afika Man with $200. You start Property Robots with $100. Okay, so that's $400 tied up in 3 platforms, and you haven't even got to do it all in one go. You could spread that out over 3 months. So, I suspect most of us $400 would not break the bank. If we lost that, it wouldn't ruin our lives. We wouldn't have to file for bankruptcy. It would just be really, really annoying because we're trying to avoid doing that. All programs have a shortest route to break even. Find out what it is for your chosen programs and withdraw your initial stake money as soon as you reach that point. Now, what I just showed you with my plan for a Fika Man, with Equinox, if you didn't keep withdrawing your stake in each of those plans, so you don't withdraw that 55,000, you just take your $100 back, you can achieve that same result in about a year. Okay, it wouldn't take you a year and a half. Because I'm suggesting take that stake money out, only because it's good practice to do so. So that's the end of the presentation. I'm going to come back to I'm going to stop the share. We'll go back to the room. I'll switch off the recording. If anybody's got any questions they want to ask or testimony they want to give or anything really, just you'll be able to unmute yourselves in a few seconds. Let's